Hi everyone, welcome to the patch 25.23 notes, aka the wintry nightmare for junglers. Yes, in this patch we are having the new winter map, some new winter skins, and also the evil addition of all top laners to jungle. Let's check it out. Do you hear the sleigh bells? Feel snow crunching under your feet? And is that a Poro on a train? It can only mean one thing. Winter Rift is finally here. Yay! Welcome to patch 25.23, the patch of Zahen, and the long-awaited return of Winter Rift. We promise the two are not related. Finally, a new map after 15 years. This patch, we have the usual balance changes, some ARAM mayhem and arena adjustments, alongside some QoL additions that speed up the champ select process. Yay! Blue Essence Emporium is also back. Yes! Oh my god. Through the remainder of the year, that's excellent. And the Arcane anniversary event is live. Our live balance portion of the patch once again seeks to add about 10 new junglers into play, and you could read more context on each one below in the champion section. Beyond injecting a few junglers, we're doing regular retuning of outliers, bringing up underperformers, and tapping down champions who are stifling the metagame. Okay, champions who are stifling the metagame. Ambassa, the 4 ADC trifecta of Ashe, Kai'Sa, Yunara, and Caitlyn. Graves is still annoying. I can't think of any others off the top of my head. There are so many, but Ambassa and those ADCs are my top ones. Graves isn't that bad. Anyway, let's look. So the Winter Rift is here. If you've seen pictures, they're great. You must have all been on Santa Brahm's nice list this year because the Winter Rift is back. It's been a long time coming, but we're back in the Winter Rift for the holidays, so get your hot chocolate ready and queue up. There's snow, there's festivity. We even put little hats and mitts on Baron. Yay! They even have a cute little thing going around your nexus. To celebrate winter coming back to the Rift, all wintry legacy skins will be turned on and available to purchase when patch 25.23 goes live. Those legacy skins will remain available until the Winter Rift turns off early next year, so pick them up while you can. This is great. They're great winter skins. We'll also have some new winter themed skins coming in patch 25.24 as well. You'll be able to pick up both old and new favorites. So we have Zahen. If you haven't watched the Zahen reveal, I definitely advise checking it out. This champion is going to be broken. So he's really, really cool. Essentially, he's Xin Zhao, but dark-inified is his lore. Yeah, excited to see this champion. He'll probably be banned for a while, but whatever. He's got to revive his old Aatrox. Arcane anniversary. Okay, a lot of people have been saying recently that Arcane is one of the worst things to happen to League lore in a long time. There's discussion. This November marks 1 year since Arcane's finale, and we're celebrating that anniversary online with all of you. The Arcane team will be looking back at the series, sharing behind the scenes content, and bringing back some fan favorite merch, so be sure to check it out. On the League side of things, we're bringing back all of Arcane skins from season 1 and season 2. This includes Arcane Fractured Jinx, who looks better now, who will be coming back in the Sanctum for the next 2 patches with some upgrades, including a new spawn and animation when the game starts, some visual upgrades across all 3 of her forms, and new recalls and chompers that better match Shimmer Jinx and Powder. Yay! The skin was the most controversial and one of the worst Sanctum skins ever, so glad to see that. If you already own the skin, you'll get all these upgrades for free. As a note, the border will not be returning. We've also got new mini rewards tracks coming with 8 Arcane themed rewards. All you need to do is play 4 games during patch 25.23 to unlock each milestone, and if you play with a pre-made, it counts as 2 games. Just make sure to claim your rewards in the activity center. Wow, oh my god, play 4 games or just play 2 games. Anyway, you're getting some cool stuff, and Arcane Anomaly is a good title. Anyway, this will all only be active for patch 25.23, so make sure to log in and complete your milestones. So, if you're listening to this, log in. So, linking penalties across accounts. This is good. I didn't know they were doing this. With 25.23, we're going to begin linking certain penalties across accounts, starting with disruptive gameplay and inappropriate text. This means that when an account receives a penalty for either of these infractions, the same penalty will be applied to all accounts owned by that player. The penalty notification will indicate if the account receiving the penalty actually committed the offense or was penalized through linking. As we gain confidence the system is working as expected, we'll expand the coverage to link additional penalty types across accounts. This is so good. Finally, one of the biggest detractors, one of the biggest reasons why people are toxic and intentionally feed and do all this negative behavior is because they just account swap. But because we now have kernel access on our computer with Vanguard, the upside of that is we can detect people and link all their accounts, and then you get banned on every account. I don't know, sucks to suck. Be good. I'm on our level 5 for 10 years running now. Seems like a skill issue to me. Cool. Champions. Several champions are getting some jungle specific tuning to make their first clears comfortable and competitive with the average jungler. Boo. We're not looking for 3-minute full clears as a way to make them viable. We're doing these jungle buffs for 2 primary reasons. First, we know autofill is a real phenomenon that can make some games feel hopeless from the start, and knowing how to pilot your champion has large ramifications on who wins the game. Second, we saw with inclusions like Silas Jungle, boo, that certain champions actually make an entire role more popular and sustain that new popularity. The more people playing the role, the fewer autofills. Win-win. We also expect these changes to be somewhat risky, as most of these champions were completely non-viable in the jungle. There may be a lot of ground to cover between having an acceptable clear and actually fulfilling their role, or alternatively, they're suddenly the best champion of the game once they can clear. So we'll be closely watching which of these junglers attract a real player base and which ones comfortably fit this new role. So yes, this will be really interesting. One of the biggest important things is your first clear. If you can get a healthy first clear fast enough, your champion is broken, aka look at Zed. This champion can full clear the jungle at 3 minutes 5 seconds, back by 2 longswords and get it to scuttle in time before it spawns. This champion's an abomination. Please nerf it in this patch. I forgot to mention that in my earlier rundown. So we'll see. I am pretty excited. I've seen the preview of what champions are being added, and let's look at the numbers specifically. So Aatrox is one of them. Here's a fun story. Aatrox's VGU was slated for the jungle for part of his early development before being shipped as a top laner. He's a very interesting champion with fun mechanics to play around, so we're alleviating some max HP caps and adding some jungle juice to see how he performs. So his passive now does scaling damage to monsters, and it has a cap. His passive, for those of you who don't know, gives him a lot of healing, and the cooldown is reduced based on the sweet spot Qs that he hits. So this is pretty nice. The Q also does bonus monster damage. Very good, and it has the sweet spot and multicast whatever multipliers, so this is a pretty nice change. I don't think Aatrox is going to be super broken. This is not a big multiplier, this is not a big clear thing, and Aatrox isn't a super mobile champion, although he could E over the walls. I don't think this is going to make him OP. Next we have Ahri. I think Ahri is in a fine spot. Our latest buff to Ahri didn't quite get her as high up as we'd hoped, so we're back to deliver some more damage. Okay, so they're buffing her. We're juicing up her W when used to pick off an individual target to reward her for landing autos, E, or generally just properly isolating her opponents. So her W subsequent hit damage is up 10%, and the maximum single hit damage is up a little bit with the AP ratio up by 8%. This is okay. It's not really gonna go crazy. I am surprised they're buffing her because her W is like the ability that's her least skill expression ability, and also an ability that kind of just like bullies melee champions. Like a lot of Ahris take this level 1 into melee matchups and they just spam it, and they don't really have to like trade proactively with the enemy. So it's interesting to see them buffing this, but whatever. It's fine. Ahri's not gonna be broken. Ambessa, this champion's getting nerfed, right? Ambessa's jungle play rate never took off, but it's always been right behind top lane in terms of actual power. We're giving it a light nudge that should make her balanced in this alternate role, and especially help unoptimized players who can't always get sweet spots to land on large jungle monsters. Her monster damage is getting buffed. This is crazy on her Q. Oh wow. This champion is not balanced. I don't understand how this champion is supposed to be balanced or is not in the sights of Riot's nerf gun. I play against this champion, and you know, in my defense, I am a 200 LP Masters jungler. I am not the greatest player in the world. I feel like when this champion gets 2 items, you are always going to struggle to deal with her. I feel like she has so much impact. She's so much agency. She is really hard to gank. She's tanky. She's got CC immunity by buffering her ult. She's got her shield, a slow. It feels so punishing to try to gank this champion, and she's so good in team fights. I really don't understand why this champion is being put in the jungle and why it's being like buffed in some capacity. Oh, wow. This is a miss from me. Ashe, okay, this is one of my OP ADCs. We're delivering a suite of ADC changes in this patch in order to shake up the end of season solo queue meta. Great. A few of the most commonly picked are being nerfed, and some of the least common are being buffed. We'd also like to move in a direction of making non-ADC caster ADCs more attack speed reliant, which you should notice in many of the ADC changes later on in this patch. Cool. Ashe has been a top performer in terms of both pick and win rate for most of the season, so we're tapping her down to get a little more equity in ADC pick rates. We're maintaining Ashe's appetite for attack speed by giving her a bit less from Q. Cool. So her Q attack speed is just down a little bit. I like this direction that they're going with ADCs in general. It does feel like for the past few seasons, it has been like AD meta, where a lot of the champions who are meta are champions who just build Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, Collector, and they just stack those 3 items, and it's like you get 2 autos off and you do half of someone's health, and like, I don't know, it's cool and all, but where's the attack speed champions? I like those, so this is okay, but there is a huge problem that if you build attack speed, you do no damage to anyone who's built any armor at all. If someone builds Ninja Tabi, forget doing damage. I mean, that's why people build Infinity Edge and everything. So hopefully they address that. Caitlyn, this champion's OP. Like Ashe above, Caitlyn has been eating up a lot of ADC pick rate. We think she should maintain her identity as a long-range lane bully, but she's also bursting champions too hard with late-game headshots, and we're bringing down the top-end damage a bit. Yeah, I consistently see this champion get 5 items, or, you know, not consistently, but like when this champion gets 5 items, the game feels almost like hopeless, because if you don't have, even if you have some crazy tank, like, you better get a good engage on her, because if you are not a full tank champion, she is headshotting you for 60+% of your health. Oof, scary. But cool. So her passive champion damage increase on the headshot has gone down. The percentage AD scaling has gone down a lot. Super hit hard on the scaling. It's good at level, I think this is level 6, but the scaling is bad. And then non-champion damage is just flat, which doesn't really matter that much. It slows down her dragon take and baron take by a little bit. Dragon more than baron, because there are bushes with dragon, but not that much. Yeah, the champion damage increase is going to be big. Cho'Gath, while he's no stranger to being played in all sorts of alternative roles, Cho'Gath has a naturally fitting jungle kit, and we'd like to make that work well. We're adjusting his E damage versus monsters to no longer care about their max HP and instead just deliver a solid punch to get through his camps. This should be an unequivocal buff to early monster damage. So his E is going from 20 to 100 to plus up to 200 to just 100 to 300. This is really crazy. He gets 3 of these, by the way, at level 1. So I'm imagining a Raptors start. He's insta-clearing that camp. This champion, to me, is cool in the jungle. He's very slow. He almost in a similar sense to Morgana. He's like gonna just walk at you. So I could see like Shurelia's Cho'Gath jungle maybe becoming a thing. I don't mind this buff. This is fine. Cho'Gath is not a broken champion. Dr. Mundo is a broken champion. He's once again risen up the ranks in popularity due to some very skilled players playing him very publicly. Hint, hint, worlds. This time in the jungle. We think Dr. Mundo is appropriately balanced in both roles at the present, but we'll continue to monitor how he's performing in the coming weeks. All that said, we're shipping a very impactful bug fix on this patch, which will increase his win rate, so we're also preemptively nerfing him a bit. We're happy with this recent reduction in burst damage, which this bug fix furthers, but want to maintain his overall sustained threat. Cool. So his E bonus attack damage from max health is, wait, it's up 2 to 2.8 to 2 to 3.2, but they fixed a bug where Dr. Mundo was getting maximum damage at 30% missing HP instead of 70% missing HP. Okay, so previously then this champion was pretty much always doing a ton of damage to you, and now will only do a ton of damage to you at low health. But yeah, interesting. He's gonna be doing more when he's low. I don't think this is gonna be a significant buff. Should be fine. Fizz, oh god, scary. While Fizz wins an appropriate number of games in mid lane, he's incredibly feast or famine and often relies on simply leaving his lane to go kill other champions. So we'd like to make him more robust in playing out of his laning phase. In order to do that, we're improving his early resilience so he can take more trades and compensate elsewhere to make him a little less ult reliant. We're also taking a swing at enabling Fizz jungle. Puke. We think this new role is a bit of a stretch. It may not pan out in the end, but we're swinging hard to get his first jungle clear into something comfortable and seeing if players will enjoy him there. So his armor is up by 4. This is amazing for any jungler. And then his passive is damage, which is just like a little dot, does 10 extra damage against monsters. That's fine. And his W active on hit do 60, so that's okay. He might be able to do like a red buff, blue buff start. And his R cooldown is increased. Oh my god. So mid lane Fizz is getting 4 armor, which is okay. It's not the worst. In exchange for 20 seconds on his ult. Ooh, RIP mid lane Fizz. That sucks. but whatever, I don't care. Jace. We think Jace jungle is a bit of a long shot. Should be, but there's a chance he's got a real player base in this new role, so we're delivering some buffs to make his first clear more comfortable and watching to see how many players are interested. So his Q damage is 50 to monsters, whatever, and his Q cannon stance is 50, so that's pretty nice for him because he gets 2 Qs at level 1. I could see him doing raptors first with this, where he like auto attacks the big one, bunches them up, Qs in range form, hammer swaps, and then does another Q. That's a lot of damage. I think Jace's clear will be pretty good with that. I don't know how this champion will be in the jungle. He might function similar to like a Graves, where he's a very kitey playstyle and he's mobile, especially with his movement speed, and he can get over walls if he has vision, but we'll see. Jhin. Jhin looks quite weak at the present, so we're giving him some damage buffs and found another place to include the number 4 in his tooltips. Nice. So his base AD is up by 2. That's big. His passive move speed on hit is this is irrelevant, and his W damage is 60 to 200 to 70 to 210. So pretty much he got 2 AD, which is, I mean, I would say it's nothing to scoff at, but it is Jhin. So for most champions, this would be really, really nice because you're getting 2 AD on every auto attack and all your abilities, which is big, but Jhin doesn't auto attack as much. So 2 AD, while it is good, is less impactful on a champion with slow attack speed and who already is going to get a ton of AD. So like early game, it's nice. And the extra 10 damage on the W is nice. But it's not, this isn't that big of a buff, which I think is appropriate. He doesn't need that big of a buff. Jinx, as with the other ADC nerfs, Jinx wins a large portion of her games and risks crowding out other champions. If left untouched amidst the other nerfs this patch, we want to preserve her identity as a late game auto attack monster, so we're nerfing some of Jinx's spell damage. So our maximum damage has gone down by 50, and the AD ratio is down 15% or 25%. Okay, that's a big deal, but I don't think that changes too much. I think the angles where Jinx R is killing you is usually like, it's always going to kill you. I very rarely see someone get hit by a rocket. I'm like, oh damn, that killed them. I'd be like, yeah, you're dying to that. So I don't think this is that big of a nerf. Kai'Sa has been the most picked solo queue ADC in most ranks for months on end, so we're delivering a small nerf to create more variety in the role. Primary nerf is to her base armor, where a bit less early safety should make her feel more assailable. Kai'Sa is not only really good, but one of the reasons she is the most picked ADC in the game is because she's fun, okay? I play this champion even when I get her in like ARAMs or when I play normal games with my friends. This champion is just fun. This feels like what an ADC should be like, and it's like, she's like what Vayne would feel like if you actually made the champion fun and good, because she feels like the AD assassin, like invisible hyper carry, like she does it all, right? Vayne, you think about Vayne and you're like, oh my god, if I get 2 items and get to late game, like or 3 items and get to late game, I'm gonna kill everyone, I'm just gonna melt everyone. Kai'Sa does the same thing, except she's more fun. So let's see, that's why her play rate's high. So base armor down 2, this is a big deal. This really hurts in lane because obviously it's hard to trade aggressively because of minions, and it also affects lanes that you're losing, and Kai'Sa loses a lot of lanes, by the way. She's like the lowest range, 25 80 range or something, I don't know. And then our R cooldown is up by 10 seconds at all ranks. That kind of sucks. Not the biggest deal though. The armor is a big deal. Hui. Hui's a well-performing mid laner who has low-quality gameplay when he can simply throw out QE to clear waves with little effort. Yeah, where have you been for the last 3 years or however long this champion's been out? That's all he does, ever. We'd like to weaken his access to non-committal wave clear by nerfing that output, as the intended rank 5 magnitude would mark an over-nerf. We're partially compensating him with an AP ratio buff. These changes will result in a net reduction in power and should open up more room for laning phase interactivity. Wonderful. I always think champions who could insta-clear waves without interacting with people have historically been very unfun champions. We're thinking our Malzahars. Even when I play Morgana mid, like I always joke about how Morgana mid is so easy, even though I don't play that role because I push W and then roam, and I'm like, whatever. I have great farm and kill participation, and this is another example of someone doing that. The champions should get punished for doing this, or should not really have access to doing it unless they're fed. Malphite is not a real champion. Malphite has a natural jungle kit with a decent gank paradigm and repeatable damage for killing monsters. He just doesn't deal enough right now to comfortably clear, so we're juicing his early clear. Oh my god. And late game as well, since he often builds full tank. Oh my god. Wow, so his W Thunderclap monster modifier is doubled. Wow. Oh my god. Wow. Cool. I'm gonna try this out. This sounds fun. Malphite's fun to play. Really simple, fun to play. Plays like a mage, kind of. Mel. We're glad that Mel is a viable mid laner. However, she's also proven to be one of League's most frustrating champions. Oh wow. Which we're looking to alleviate. Her passive buffs that require her to take on more risk were successful in our eyes, so we're headed back to that. To continue to expose her to more risk, we're weakening Solar Snare's lockdown and self-peel potential. Nice. We know she's got some such sharp interactions that she still sports one of League's highest ban rates, but we hope this adjustment will be roughly power neutral and frustration reducing. This will not change it, but let's read. Damage per spell for her passive, which is an execute for no reason, is buffed. Okay. And then her E root duration is down. Thank God. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, never mind. Okay. Wow. I mean, they took 0.65 seconds off her E. That's kind of nutty. I think that might be the biggest CC duration nerf of all time. Right? I mean, 2.25 seconds to 1.6. That's enormous. Wow. Deserved, because oh my god, why would I ever play Morgana, even though I play Morgana every game, when this champion exists who is Morgana but can hit you through a wave and can hit every champion. 2.25 seconds was nutty. This champion late game felt so annoying to deal with. This is a nice nerf, actually. You know what, Riot? I'm impressed. Misfortune. She isn't winning as often as she should for how straightforward she is to play, and unlike many of the other ADCs in this patch, she is indeed a caster, so we're looking to amp up her ability to take over team fights with her ultimate. Well, Jhin was right up there, but anyway. Our bullet time damage per wave is up 5%. Total AD, whatever. It's a nice buff, not crazy. Ornn. While Ornn is a totally viable top laner, we think he could also shine in the tank jungle roster. So we're buffing some of his monster damage caps. We're also adding some tooltip clarity as some of his numbers weren't exposed to players. Cool. So his W active monster damage cap is up a lot, and his passive monster damage cap is scaling, which is really nice. And the level up tooltip now displays minimum and maximum damages. This is really nice. Ornn jungle was a thing a while ago. Ornn jungle flourished because it doesn't need to back and has a unique place in the meta back in like a few years ago when it was cool, because he could just gank at all times. There was a point where Ornn stabilized. I think it was once you got your Bammy Cinder, where Ornn just never had to back anymore, because that was when Bammy Cinder was a good item and you could just clear the jungle on cooldown. You didn't take damage or you'd heal and you just never backed. And that's pretty crazy for a jungle. Now, of course, the trade-off is that you're playing Ornn, and so you're just a slow walking rock, but it's pretty cool. It's a very nice balance. I think Ornn could be cool as a jungler. I don't have a problem with it. I think Ornn's a fun champion. I think he's a cutie patootie. I don't know. Next, Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai top has been an enjoyable spectator experience, but a fairly miserable one to play against, and she's significantly overpowered for those who know what they're doing. Oh, weird. This should say Ambessa. We don't want to remove this role from viability, but we like to reduce just how, they mean how, immovable she is through her lane sustain. Her jungle will take a small hit from this nerf, but she can sustain a small nerf there as well. That's a pun. Okay, so the passive Fury gained a minion hit is down, and the max health healed is down. Yeah, I've heard. I watch Worlds. This champion's so annoying. Riven. Riven's native mobility, strong dueling, and interesting risk profile of having to burn damage in order to close the gap could make for a really compelling jungle champion. She's also monstrously hard to play. Wrong. But even accounting for that, she appears to be a pretty abysmal jungler at her current tuning. We're substantially buffing her first clear to see if players will find a fun, dynamic, high skill fighter compelling in this new role. Passive does 50 extra damage to jungle camps, which means she does 150 extra damage to every jungle camp with her Q, because you get 3 procs of your passive. I don't think Riven jungle is going to be OP, but I will say if this champion ever becomes meta, I don't know. What am I going to kill myself? I don't want to play against this champion, Riot. Come on, do better. Sion is pretty playable in the jungle, but is slightly weak and deserving of a small nudge for players who want to yell cowards as they barrel up and down the river. We're just delivering a light touch to see how many players want to try their hand at Siongle. Monster mod for the Q is up 15%. This won't change anything. Skarner jungle would be cool if it, or Sion jungle would be cool if it were a thing. I don't mind this jungle. I don't mind tank junglers. I don't. Skarner. Last patch Skarner's changes unfortunately landed him weaker than we had hoped and anticipated. This champion's not real. Even when he's good, his play rate is low. We're now here to deliver direct buffs in order to give him the power he deserves. We were overly cautious on how much attack damage to give him, so we're back for more, and his Q isn't doing quite enough now that he can't quickly get 2 cycles off, so we're buffing his uptime. So his AD growth is up 1, and his Q cooldown is down by 1 second at max rank, which is level 9, and the max HP damage is up. These might help a little bit. Not a big deal. Skarner is a bit annoying. When he was really meta, this champion was awful to play against. I don't mind him as a niche pick, though. He is kind of fun. I don't know. Not a big deal. Swain, this champion feels broken when people know how to play him. Swain is quite weak and is most played role as support. We want to give him a little more power in his E, as well as lowering its mana cost to let Swain support have more room to work without a mana item, since he typically doesn't buy one there. So E damage is up by 10 at all ranks, which doesn't really do anything, but the mana down by 10 at all ranks is big. And let me say, I've been seeing some Swain mids recently as counters to melee champions, like in the face of Yones and things like that. This champion is good. Like, this champion does damage. Do not underestimate this champion, and do not underestimate carry Swain. Tristana is a little underrepresented and can do with a small buff, and we like to ensure she is a good late game attack power, so we're bumping her AD growth up by 0.4. That, whatever. Okay. So at level 10, she's 4 extra AD. Yay! Who cares? Vlad, we're continuing to identify ranged top laners who undeservedly gained laning dominance from our recent lane sustained changes, and Vlad is next on that list of overperforming ranged tops. We're looking to make his matchups more interactive by giving more room for typically physical melee champions to strike back during Vlad's moments of downtime. Also, the number 607 makes it uncomfortably easily to type. Killing myself. Cool, base health down, armor down. Fuck Vlad. Everyone hates this champion. Volibear, despite being so sexy, this champion's OP. Volibear's last patch succeeded in adjusting his jungle versus top gap, but left him a little weaker than we wanted across both roles, so we're here to deliver him some more power to our favorite Zillion-hating demigod. We chose attack damage here to ensure that as a moderate mobility melee champion, his attacks are appropriately threatening, and yes, he is going to be threatening me right after this video. Base stats, AD up 3. Wonderful. Kind of a nice change. Helps his jungle clear a lot. Xayah. While Rakan's been making waves, Xayah's been sitting in the sidelines for quite some time. We're looking to bring up her feather damage to help her cut through her opponents. Sure, I guess. Her passive clean cuts feather push through, which is like after she uses an ability, she shoots out a feather. The damage is up 5% AD to secondary targets, which is fine, I guess. This isn't like that crazy. It's fine, right? This is like not even the damage she does to the person she's autoing. It's the damage that the feathers do to things behind what she's autoing, which she sometimes does in lane to do a little bit of poke. It'll help her wave clear. It's not that big of a buff. Zeri is in a relatively weak spot with pretty much no presence in pro play, as well as a generally low pick rate. We want to bring her back towards those glory days of being one of the fastest ADCs in the game, so we're buffing her top end move speed during her ultimate. Interesting. I don't think Riot will ever learn their lesson with this champion. Stop buffing it. Overall, I like most of the ADC changes. I think some balance changes are good. We'll talk about it in the review, but some of the junglers, we will see. Items. So Sunfire Aegis has been strongly losing to Liandry's on any tank jungler who can reasonably choose between the two. We like to bring back tank forward itemization here and allow Aegis to return to the forefront, so the monster damage mud is up. Tank junglers are back. I'm telling you right now, Shurelia's Aegis of their Sunfire Aegis, Cho'Gath. Watch out. Malphite, Arent. They don't need Shurelya's. Cool. Arent Mayhem. Arent Mayhem has breathed some amazing life into League of Legends. I'm not going to read this because I don't care that much, but whatever. Cool. Arena, I don't play. Blue Essence Emporium is coming back and is staying for 2 months almost. Yay! Very excited. This is going to be great. They also have a hilarious title that they're adding, which is hand leveled account for 250,000 Blue Essence, which I have, by the way, in storage. Practice tool is nice. Buff. QL champ select update. Let's see. In an effort to speed up the pre-game flow a little, we've slimmed down Summoner's Rift draft pick a bit in this patch. These changes are very minor, a few seconds here and there. As a result, champ select should feel the same but snappier. Here are the details. Intro animation cut down to 5 seconds. Hover pre-select change from 50 to 7. Band phase, oh wow. Total pick phase change from 3 minutes to 2.5. No changes. Oh wow, this is so good. I can't tell you how many times I spend this full duration, so let's say 3.5 minutes in a champion select, and somebody dodges at the last second. I have to wait 5 minutes in queue all over again, and it happens 3 times in a row, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god, it's been 25 minutes. Really excited. You will see a lot of people unexpectedly dodging because of this though, and I will be one of them. Bug fixes and QL change. Hide my name and hide my identity info streamer mode settings are now respected in other players' spectator streams. Okay, don't care. We're continuing to enhance streamer mode. Okay, don't care, don't care. Bug fixes, don't care. Skin bug fixes, don't care. And upcoming skins and chromas, we do have the Rain, Shepherd, Tristana, Gwen, and Zahen skins. And this is great. The Tristana skin and the Gwen skin and the Zahen skin, honestly. Oh, it's Immortal Journey. It's not even Rain Shepherd. These two skins look really, really good. This skin is whatever. They wanted a green themed Zahen skin. I'm not excited for this, but these two skins are so cute. They're so cute and so good. Happy. And then we get some random chromas, which look good. So let's review. Overall, we have ADC nerfs on Ashe, Caitlyn, Jinx, Kai'Sa. I think Ashe, Caitlyn, Kai'Sa deserve these. I do think there's a place for Yunara to be nerfed alongside them, but whatever. Hwei nerfs, fine, but I don't think he needed it. And Vlad nerfs, great. Rek'Sai nerfs, whatever. I don't think she needed it, but whatever. And Jinx nerfs are whatever. The buffs, I mean, it's kind of awkward to call these buffs, but they are. Aatrox jungle, fine. Ahri buff doesn't matter, it's just her W. The Ambessa buff is insane. This champion's so broken. The Cho'Gath buff will be fun for jungle. Jace buff will be fun for jungle. Jhin buff doesn't really matter, it's 10 damage on your W. Malphite buff for jungle will be cool. Misfortune got 5% damage on her ult, doesn't really matter. Orin buff for jungle will be fun. Riven buff for jungle is crazy. Sion buff for jungle will be fun. Skarner buff doesn't really matter. Swain buff is going to make mid lane Swain and AD or carry bot Swain OP, but support Swain will be fine. Tristana buff, whatever, not real. The Volibear buff is going to be really good actually for jungle. Xayah buff is not real. Zeri buff is not real. And then the Dr. Mundo buff / nerf is whatever. The Fizz jungle, whatever, is going to be okay, but oh my god, Fizz mid is suffering. And the Mel adjustment, which is really a 0.6 second CC duration off our E. Amazing. Great. Oh my god, they're finally addressing that champion. Mel is so frustrating to play against. I don't care if she's OP. It's different. Ambessa is OP and frustrating to play against. I hate that champ. Mel is not OP, but I hate playing against her. Get rid of her invulnerability during her W, and then we'll talk. And then Sunfire Aegis buff is going to be great for tank junglers, which I'm excited to play. And that's the whole patch. It's cool. So I'll see you on Winter Summoner's Rift soon. You can always check me out on my Twitch stream. I'll see you all soon. Bye. Mwah.